Hey everybody, Distiller Greyling here, one of your favorite home and hobby distillers, and welcome to yet another Distiller Greyling Extra. In today's video, I want to talk about aging, maturation, and just what do I have here on the table in front of me. First up, aging refers to the actual duration of storage, while maturation expresses the degree of chemical changes during storage. So both of them happen actually at the same time. We tend to use wood chips to extract the flavor compounds out of the wood to infuse or macerate our products. We also tend to call, instead of aging my products, I'm actually wooding my products, but that is what we actually refer to. But let's have a look here what I have. So first up, I have some French oak chips that's medium roasted. As you can see, they're much more finer. Yes, this is one of the first actually wood chips that I have and that I bought. I got it with my 13-liter still, and I really used it extensively. I could see with time they tend to extract lesser flavors, so it's almost like they start to I don't know, get depleted. That's why we tend to always get new ones, but that's no problem. Then I opted for a bit bigger chips, and these are also French oak medium roasted. And actually from French oak barrels, they were chopped up into this block. Sometimes you can actually still see the curvatures of the barrels themselves. But yes, I use this much more. But what's much more fun using these ones, I can easily count the blocks and weigh them out for my maturation processes. So when I started distilling, my idea was that I wanted to make a gin. I thought gin was going to be much more easier, just get a neutral alcohol spirit and infuse it and make your gin. And after playing around with gin a bit, I decided that I want to do something extra. So I was very, how can I say it, I saw the grain and fruit as very challenging. I thought to myself, fruit, you have to de-pit it, get the skin off, squash it, and I just thought, no, that's not maybe for me. And then I went to grain, and the whole starch conversion process just seemed like, this is a lot of work for a little bit of alcohol. So I also pushed that aside, and then I opted for molasses. For some reason, I thought molasses is very easier than the rest, so I started making rum. Until then, I've never really drank rum. I'm not a big drinker, so I don't even drink a lot of other spirits. I used to, I like a bit of whiskey, and I tend to drink a bit of rum, but mostly with some ginger ale or a bit of like a ginger beer. So I thought, let me give it a try. So I started making rum. Actually, I enjoy the process of making, especially the fermentation, a lot. I started playing around with different yeast and different pHs and temperature ranges. And I started really seeing the fun of actually this whole fermentation and distilling process. So it was actually quite fun, and that's why I actually started doing grains as well, but we'll get to that a bit later. But first up, let me see what I have here on the table. So I'm going to take this one. So when you do your molasses and you distill it, obviously your spirits comes out clear. All your spirits are supposed to come out clear. If it doesn't come out clear, then you're running your still a bit too fast, or there's something else, maybe puking that's happening, so maybe have a look at that. But yes, when you distill, all your spirits should come out very clear. So from that, I started playing around with what I have. First up, I had my chips. So let me just check this one. So this one here actually says there, first rum run, 25th of May 2021. So about 2 years ago actually, but okay, in any case. So this was my French chips that I used. I saw here on the side, it was 573 milliliters at 43 ABV that I actually used about 13 grams of French oak chips for 2 weeks, and it came out like this. And it was alright, it wasn't too bad. Started playing around. I actually wanted a bit more darker rum, so I started playing around more with it. Let me see. So this one, let me put this one aside. So this was when I started getting these blocks. I started adding them in. And for first up, I just added 10 blocks and left it for a month, 4 weeks. And then this came out. Wasn't too bad, wanted it a bit darker. So then I went with this one. This one was 20 blocks for 4 weeks. So the same duration, the same aging duration, but more blocks. And you can clearly see it actually got darker. And then I tried to say, let me add 40 blocks and see for 4 weeks what's the difference with 40 blocks. And strange enough, it started to become overwooded. It's almost like the rum taste is still there, but you're starting to, it's almost like the oak flavor is overpowering it, and it's not getting nice. So you have to find that balance when you do your aging. And that's why especially I like the 20 blocks for 4 weeks was my favorite one, and I really enjoyed. This is what I wanted, what I aimed for, and I really enjoyed this. So I took this maturation or aging or wooding method, and I started playing around with bigger volumes to see, if I leave it longer, or especially with bigger volumes, how will it change? Because all these were still just 750 to 1 liter fermentations or distillations that I did. Most of these were 5 liter fermentations, and then I would distill it in the 13 liter because I wasn't sure, I'm going to make a good product or not, and I don't want to waste my molasses by making a bad product. And now I'm sitting with 20 liters of bad product, and yeah, it's undrinkable. So I had 5 liter fermentations, about 1 liter product that came out, and it was really fun. That first about year was really fun. Just playing around, experimenting with all the different types of fermentations and macerations at the end. Putting this back aside. So, like I said, I started using bigger volumes. So this one was again 20 blocks. I had it in for a bit longer, I see it. Not 1 month or 4 weeks. I actually had it in for 3 months. So it's more or less, I get the same flavor profile out of this one as the same one for the 20 blocks for 4 weeks, but I think it was a larger volume. Also, I think my blocks itself is starting to get depleted, so I actually must get some new blocks, but I really enjoy this one. This is the one that I mostly would enjoy with ice or a bit of ginger beer. Really enjoyed this one. This one I decided that I put the 20 blocks in for 3 months, took the 20 blocks out, and then I added 3 blocks and I left it. And I actually left it for 10 months with only 3 blocks. And then I took the blocks out and I drank it again. And very strangely, it almost gets to a much smoother. You don't get that harshness of these ones. So I saw that the longer you leave it, the more refined your product actually comes. And now I can start to understand why you would say commercial wise you need to leave your products 2 years or 3 years or longer. And especially if you come to your whiskies that's now a 10 or 15 or 20 years, the longer they are, the really better they become. And I was very surprised with that, experimenting on my own at home, actually getting a better result. This one over here, this is a nice story. I call it my Frankenstein rum. The reason for that is when I was playing around with all the different fermentations and macerations, I ended up with a lot of these bottles standing around, and yeah, my wife said, it's getting too much. I need to make a plan with all these bottles. And also when I distill something new, I'm running out of storage because I've got all these small bottles. So I started buying more larger containers, and I added all the different rums into this one together to free up some of these bottles. And it came to this, and like I said, I call it my Frankenstein rum. It's alright. It's not something I would bottle and give away for people, but it's still still usable, still drinkable, and it's not too bad. But yes, you tend to make your own products as you go along. This one over here is my 5 liter French oak barrel. Very nice story with this one. It's actually my father-in-law's barrel. He bought it, I can't remember now. in about 1983 or 84. He bought it actually at Van Ryn's distillery there in the Western Cape. The idea was to actually put sherry inside, and then when people come and visit, they can pour out the sherry and it will be nice. But it never came to that point, and it stayed empty for a while. My brother-in-law, his son, actually played with this more when he was younger, adding water in and like making like his serving for himself or his friends. And then it stood empty for long. And when I started distilling, he said to me, I can really have it because he's not doing anything with it. And it took me a while to actually get it sealed. As it was almost dried out, or really dried out, I had to add water, and I had water for about 4 days every day, and it kept on leaking out. Eventually the wood did actually start to swell up again, and it started to seal. So I added some 5 liters of rum. I left it for 9 months, and this was the results. This was my rum for 9 months in the Van Ryn's or the Velseroy container, and I must say it's very nice. Even though it's lighter, you know, I like the darkness of the rum. It tastes much more better. It's a much more drinkable on the rocks type of rum than this one. This one I tend to mix because it's a bit more overpowering, but this one really came out nicely. So at the moment I actually have got rum in here again. It's now about 4 months in, so in another 5 months I will then actually pour this one out again. And I'm thinking, because now at the moment there was rum inside, so it's got a bit of a rum profile inside the barrel itself. I want to see if I do like a grain fermentation and making a new spirits or a moonshine and trying to attempt to make a whiskey. How will it change in flavor having this rum loaded barrel already? Yet again, just experimenting and having fun. Coming back to whiskey, like I said, the whole starch conversion looked challenging to me, but I have done a few starch conversion. I also did a video on starch conversion. Still in the process of making more videos about starch conversion and how it's different. The grain or malted grain is different from normal grain, and how you can combine these and how do you add enzymes to your normal grain. So when I start to make whiskey, I want to get some wood chips, and I actually want to show you guys the different results of the wood chips. I actually want to get some virgin oak, a light roast, medium wood roast, and a dark roast, and actually add the same amount into products and then leave them for 3 months, and then after 3 months then see what is going to be the difference. You know, how's the color and taste going to change just by adding a certain type of blocks. But we will get there. I'm busy ordering or getting some wood chips, and obviously need to distill the whiskey to get the maturation process also going. So in a nutshell, this is what I have. Like I said, I'm only rum at the moment. That's why I have got a lot of rum and I love to play around with it. My next aim is I wanted to start to play around with whiskey. I really like whiskey. I think I'm over my fear of grain and starch conversion, so I definitely will start to play around with grain. And there is a lot of grain. There are a lot of different types of grains, so I think it's going to be a very fun experiment time to play around with that. But that's all in the next few months to come. So for now, this is all I have. I hope you enjoyed it. It's nothing too major, just something that I like to share with you guys. And as always, remember to be awesome, to be kind, and be yourself. Cheers.